You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Big Guy Sports Radio Show. Your home for New York sports.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Big Guy Sports Presents Prime Time Sports News in New York on Wednesday, July 8th, 2020. I am your host, Jim, along with my co-host, Mac. We are here with you for an hour tonight instead of 2, as we have some upgrades to our software that need to take place later on this evening. How are you today, Mac?
I'm doing great. I'm still feeling it after yesterday, having the great Bob Arum on with us. That was awesome. I've got something going for us for next week, Jim. We got 2 guests lined up. We'll talk about it later. But I've been reaching out, possibly 3. And just to give you a little tease.
Tell them what you got. Tell them.
Okay, just a little tease. One is an author of a lot of Mets books. One being about Amazing. Again, it's one of his books he wrote. He wrote a book about Mike Piazza. So, like I said, we'll give you names out later. We also got a former heavyweight champion, a real former heavyweight champion that's going to come on with us Wednesday. And I'm trying to get a Giants insider lined up for us, a guy that knows everything about Giants current, and he's also a writer. And I'm not going to give that away yet either. But so we got a lot of guests coming up next week that are going to really spice up the shows. Make it well worth listening to, and so we're gonna have a lot of fun coming up this next.
Once you
couple
said a
weeks.
book about Mike Piazza, the rest I kind of blanked out. Is that bad, or?
Well, the title of the book is Mike Piazza, catcher. I don't want to quote it wrong, but I think it's catcher, slugger, and the icon. So it's gonna be great having him on. He's
back tonight. I did reach out to Justin last night and asked Justin how he broke his streak. He said something about driving home and he couldn't get it in the car with the reception.
Hey, listen, have you ever told them the apps that we are actually on that they
but they don't work. We're not using them right now, so they're having technical difficulties.
No, I'm talking about we are being carried, believe it or not.
Oh, I don't know if those are live or replayed, but we'll share that information with him. But he's back tonight. He took he took his one night off, which is, to be expected. I mean, sometimes you got to take a night off. So
there's no excuses, man.
No?
There's no excuses.
He's still one of my favorites.
He's one of my favorites too, but
represents the entire Jet Nation. Since the girls won't help us, he is like numero uno.
That is true. I mean, I'm not. Hey, listen, nothing against him. I like him a lot. But listen, he's got to be there, man. I mean,
what are you going to do in the world when he goes out? Are you
listen, again, there's excuses. There's ways to find to listen to us. I mean,
all right. Well, we got an hour tonight, so we got some good stuff. So I want to start off the show with today. We are celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues.
Yes,
that's a big deal. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, they were playing baseball in Baltimore for nearly 40 years, just so you know at that point. They played several more years before the city had a team that was admitted to one of the 2 professional sport leagues that began in the 20s. They had the Baltimore Black Sox, later the Baltimore Elite Giants that covered the city for 27 years. The Black Sox started as an independent team and then were a charter member of the Eastern Colored League in 1923. The Black Sox won the league title in 1929 with a 53-29 record, and they played at a field nicknamed the $1 Million Field. $1 Million Field. So, 100-year celebration today, and one of the things for me is I play a lot of, as you know, because I talk about it on the air, I play a lot of fantasy baseball games. Not the typical. I play the typical fantasy baseball that everybody else plays. But I play other games. There's a couple games one of them is called Stratomatic Baseball. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of, but it's a statistical game. And I play a game called Out of the Park Baseball, which is another game that you can get on the computer. These games allow you to play any season with any players from any time frame. So I've actually been able to replay in my time, some of the Negro Leagues because they've had them. They have them in Out of the Park Baseball. So I get to experience and play these games with players that otherwise I would never have seen.
So you mean like you got Satchel Paige as a pitcher? You could use him as a pitcher?
Automatic Baseball is a fantasy game that's based around cards and dice. Like it's almost like a Dungeons and Dragons only for baseball, where you roll dice. They put out a set every year based on the cards or based on how the player does, but they do the throwback seasons too. And then Out of the Park Baseball is a computer simulation game that will allow you to play with any season that's ever taken place in any football league. Like I can play with Babe Ruth through his entire career. I could play season. I mean, so I got a chance over the last few years to actually play with guys that I would not know anything about. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at like Biz Mackey, Leon Day, Roy Campanella was there. I don't know.
Yep. He was a catcher. Yeah.
Was in the Negro League. They were, Mackey and Day were elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Campanella's a 3-time MVP, 8-time All-Star when he went to the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yep.
So, pitchers Joe Black, Junior Gilliam. I mean, these are all names that, a lot of people should know about because there was a lot of great baseball played in the Negro Leagues that a lot of people didn't get a chance to see.
Hey, big guy, don't forget, Hank Aaron started in Negro Leagues. Willie Mays started in Negro Leagues. There are big time, of course, Jackie Robinson too, and you mentioned Campanella, but Ernie Banks started in the Negro Leagues. So a lot of these guys started there and ended up coming on to the, if you want to call them, into the white league, if that's the way you want to put it, but the Major League Baseball league. So there are a lot of these great players. You're talking about the home run champ, the real home run champ. You're talking about the greatest center field in the history of baseball, in my opinion, Willie Mays, and Campanella and Ernie Banks were 2 Hall of Fame baseball players.
And not only that, think about how many guys played in that league that probably easily had the talent to play in the bigs, but because of, everything going on with the racism and how hard it was to get, someone in the league to cross the line like Jackie Robinson did. Think about how many of those guys might have been, had MLB talent.
Right. Definitely. And
you know what I mean?
And big guy, when they first started these leagues, they were all like you were kind of pointing out, they were all independent leagues and independent teams, and they formed it sort of like MLB, Major League Baseball, where they had a National League and an American League, and they did scrimmage the MLB. They did scrimmage them to some of the all-star teams, but the white, of course, they were the Major League Baseball fans were very reluctant to let the black players in. But it did work both ways. I mean, there were a lot of the Negro League fans that liked it the way it was because it was their thing. It was their party. And they knew that eventually when the players from the Negro Leagues went into Major League Baseball, that their league would kind of fall apart, which they were right. It eventually did. But this was their party. This was their fun. And this, a lot of those parks were packed with fans for the Negro Leagues.
Right. And Steve says Hank is still the home run champ in his mind. I can't put his comment on the screen because he used an expletive. But and Justin says the movie 42. But just to give you an idea, so that the Negro Leagues came to the end in the 50s. So it's been 70 years since they came to an end. But you named it, and I'll just go over it again. I mean, look at some of the names that came from that league: Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Larry Doby, Monte Irvin, Ernie Banks. And in addition to Campanella and Robinson, nearly 2 dozen other Negro League baseball players are enshrined in Cooperstown.
Yeah, I mean, there's a stream. Remember, we were talking to Dominic Amore, and he was talking about, where the Yankees actually went and had spring training on a Georgia farm, a plantation, where the manager was buying back his plantation, and he had them there working the harvest to spring training, so it kind of helped them out and kept the players in shape. And one of the Hartford Senators, which was the minor league for the Yankees at that time, I here in Hartford, Connecticut, the player wrote back and said, "Hey, there's some African American players down here that are really, really good playing." So they knew about this back in the 20s, that they had a lot of talent coming out of that league and a lot of talent that was down there playing ball, and so. They already the white players in MLB already knew it, So
there's almost 24 Negro League players that are in the Hall of Fame that actually never played in MLB. So
right, exactly.
It just shows how good they were, and they were recognized despite not playing it. Now, I don't know if you know this. Maybe you do know this. Maybe you don't. But did you know that in 2009, they signed a bill into law proclaiming that the second Saturday in May is always considered Negro League Day in the state of Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, and it should be. I mean, they should be celebrated just as much as the early teams in baseball. I mean, they actually, like I was telling you, they did have scrimmages where minor league teams went up against them, the major league all-stars went up against them, and there's percentages that they at least won 45 to 57% of the time, depending on what kind of players were on each team. They have to break it down like that because some teams didn't have full major league teams, and that included the Cuban teams who were at that time were playing against the Negro Leagues and scrimmage against the Major League Baseball leagues.
Absolutely, and they have their own museum that you can go and visit. It's free. It's in the Owings Mills branch of the Baltimore County Library. It's free and open to the public during the library hours. So if you're ever in Maryland, you can actually go visit it. See some of the history. Probably. In a much broader stroke because of the fact that as opposed to Cooperstown, where it focuses on the entirety of baseball, if you go to the Baltimore County Library, you get to see a section that's dedicated to just that.
Just the Negro Leagues, yes. And, there are stories about, don't know if they're true or not, but it's been said that, that Satchel went up against Babe Ruth and struck him out, which, Babe Ruth is not like he didn't strike out.
Sure struck out.
But Satchel Paige, supposedly, he never really got a chance to pitch in the major leagues. He was supposedly one of the best pitchers then. So, there's a lot of stories out there about stuff like that. There's even I want to say a perception by some people that Babe Ruth was mixed because of his physical features. That's been brought up before because he was from he was at a reform school and he was a kid that had no parents and stuff like that, orphanage. So there's even speculation about that. So it's incredible what
Satchel Paige's talent, right? Because how many people? A lot of people know who Satchel Paige is, and a lot of people think Satchel Paige was a great pitcher, despite the fact that he never played. So it just speaks to Satchel Paige's talent.
Unbelievable talent. And there's a lot of talents. There was a catcher on one of the teams that hit, I think it was 48 home runs. And they said he's not just hitting, over a 310-foot fence. He's putting them out there 400 feet. They call them, the Black Babe Ruth. So, there's a lot of stories. And if people really love sports, and this one of my passions, Jim, is just sports in general. I love, the Giants in New York and the Yankees, and I follow the Jets and Mets. But I love sports. I love baseball. I love football, the game itself. So this is an important part of the history of baseball that should be, that should be celebrated.
Absolutely. And it should be. And it's, you even should base. I know they're starting a little late, but, it would have been great to see if, because I feel like if baseball was playing right now, they would have done something today.
Yeah. I even saw on Twitter where our center fielder for the Yankees, he tipped his hat and he was just to the 100th anniversary of the Negro League. So people do know about it, and I agree. There should be some kind of celebration by the major leagues for this. So
absolutely. And you speak real quick about the Yankees today. So I was watching a video that the Yankees had released from their little conferences and stuff. They released these videos, and so Garrett Cole was pitching in one of those games they're playing against you. Looked great, had one mistake. And because I was pumping him, Andahar took him deep to the opposite field like a bomb.
Yeah.
Hey, the Yankee fans will be happy if Andahar's back. The boy gets I can tell you, because Cole breezed through everybody else except Andahar in an opposite field black.
Now he wasn't pitching to Stanton, was he? They sat Stanton down for that.
I didn't watch the whole
I hope so.
Stanton was on his team because it was teams, so.
Okay. All right, good. I just
did hit a bomb today, so that was quite the thing. In other news, I want to touch base on, I know a lot of people know the story, but Netflix released this special called Athlete A, which is about women's gymnastics for the United States. Now, I know a lot of people have seen, they know the story, they've read it, but it's not the same. I strongly urge everybody who has Netflix, go check Athlete A out, because it's a great story that lets you understand that the lengths that sometimes this country will go to against its athletes just to produce a winning product. So basically the story is, and I'm sure everybody knows, it's about Larry Nassar, who was the former U.S. gymnastics team doctor, who was accused of sexually abusing over 250 girls that were all part of the USA gymnastics team. Now, anybody who follows the USA gymnastics team knows we have one of the best gymnastics teams in the world. And they had their own version of the Fab Five with Simone Biles and Allie Raceman and all of those girls, and even those girls, even Simone Biles and Allie Raceman themselves said, we were abused too. And, these girls, they start training to represent the country, and they have a lot of pride in representing the country. And they start at a really young age, 7, 8, 9, and they train well more than any of us would ever understand. They do put in more hours than football players, baseball players. You talk about these girls are these girls are 9 or 10 years old, and they're putting in 12-hour days.
Yeah.
Playing, and if you watch, they're going on, the culture that was built goes much more beyond just the abuse. I mean, you have the abuse, and he's in jail he got consecutive 60-year sentences. So it's
like 300 something years.
They arrested the other guy, the guy who they reported it to, who was running USA Gymnastics, who decided to cover it up and not do what he was supposed to do. So he continued to put these girls at risk for the sake of winning. And then it was a disgusting display. They showed part of like the scenes of the court, when he had to go stand in front of Congress.
Yeah.
And when they asked him questions, he pleaded the fifth like a coward, like a coward. And one of the congressmen, I don't know who it was, or said to him, basically, so with all these girls sitting here watching, you're going to plead the fifth and not apologize for turning your back on them. And he pleaded the fifth. Disgusting human being. Disgusting. And I'm glad he's too. But what I'm getting at is that there was more to it than just this. The people need to understand that these young girls, 13, 12, 14, 15, they're expected to keep practicing if they have a broken leg, a broken ankle, a bruised ankle. They're coming home with bruises, and they still have and then when they tell the coaches they're hurt, the coaches are telling them you tough it out. These are young girls trying to win. And I don't know what you know about the story, and if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's an hour and 45 minutes. It really shines a light on an organization and makes you really wonder, what are we doing?
Well, Jim, and something like this, and as you talked about the sacrifice the girls make because they want to be on the Olympic team, and if they don't go out and practice and don't compete, they may lose their spot. So they really want to. They're very competitive, and they're very, very, very strong in their will of doing things that maybe most of us wouldn't do if we were hurt. The thing about this now, as you mentioned, this has happened. I think that back in 2016 is when this all came about. Mm-hmm. And what I looked at was not so much. I mean, the gymnastics for covering up, for not reporting it right away is huge. I mean, the guy's a dirtbag. I'm glad he got caught. I mean, he was doing things convincing these girls that it was part of a pregame warm up, and the mother was there. I mean, it was disgusting what this guy was doing. But when they reported it to the United States Gymnastics, their organization there, and they kind of, we'll contact the police, and then they didn't contact the police. And then the FBI was contacted, and while they were supposedly investigating this, the assaults continued. And that's kind of sad and infuriating at the same time. And how they managed to let this guy continue to be the coach when they were investigating him. I have no idea. I think it has a lot to do with maybe saving face or something with his organization, which makes me even madder. So now the women want
point though, Mac. What do you think about that? I think that if anything, it's not going to change what happened, but maybe he's right. I mean, maybe when you have girls competing in a sport, it should be a woman doctor.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that would be better percentage-wise. I mean, there are sick people in both genders.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I agree with that too. I agree with that. But what's more infuriating even than that is that it was reported and nothing was done for over a year and a half. They're asking the Justice Department to let these reports by the FBI release these reports, and they haven't done that yet. So the cover-ups are unbelievable. Whenever you get a big business or a big organization, they want to protect that business or organization. So they're willing to do things so the organization doesn't look bad instead of taking care of the individuals. And we see that happen a lot in a lot of circumstances where somebody who has they're celebrated as a big star or a big organization, as what happened with that director and producer. They're protected because they have influence and because they have some kind of power, which is really sad. And I mean, somebody has got to release these reports, and we got to see why the FBI failed to stop him when they already had the reports in and let him go on training. Or
if you watch the movie, the guy who was in charge of the USA Olympics, Steve Penny, who has been arrested, and he's the guy who pleaded the fifth and all this other crap. The vile of a man. Never touched the girls, but he might as well.
Right.
I mean, he might as well, because he allowed it to continue happening.
Right.
He was told by a parent after the daughter complained, the first person to come forward, and she was still in gymnastics. And he said, "Oh, don't say anything. Don't say anything." 'Cause he didn't want it to come out and, brand it. He said, "I'll handle it." He waited 5 minutes to turn it over to the FBI. Then he turned it over to the FBI, and he turned it over to someone that he was promising a job for the USA Gymnastics, and it just got buried until finally the only reason this came out is because a paper in Indianapolis decided to stay on it and keep investigating it. And once they reported it and people saw it, then all the girls just started coming forward. And this poor girl, this poor girl Nichols, she was supposed to be on that team with the Fab Five girls that won the gold. And she performed and scored well. And it was up to Steve Penny and the other lady, Carolyn, or whatever her last name is. Yeah. She was like the one who ran the ranch where all this stuff went down. And a lot of this stuff went down. And they kept her off the Olympic team because she didn't stay silent. This is before it went public. She had actually stayed silent. After she and her parents told them, at first, and they said, "Don't say anything, we'll handle it," they stayed quiet.
Yeah.
Never said anything. So they should have put her on the team. And nice, good for her that now not only has she bounced back from that, she went to the University of Oklahoma. She gave up the USA Olympics. She's on the gymnastics team there. They've won back-to-back titles, and she won the award for being the gymnast of the year. So good for her. So
there you go.
But it's disgusting that the USA would put girls through that just for the sake of being the top country.
So you see, Jim, that's three things. There's three strikes and you're out, right? You got this doctor doing this crazy stuff. You got the organization keeping people silent, not reporting to their friends. And then third, you got the FBI investigating. When they finally started investigating, this guy continued working. He should have been pulled right then when the FBI started investigating it, and that should have been it. So, I mean, that's three things that happened that should never have happened. And it should cause everybody to be upset.
No, and luckily they cleaned house on that because, to be honest with you, except for the fact that it would hurt the girls who have dreams of wanting to go and be in the Olympics, if it wasn't for the girls, I'd just say shut the whole organization down.
Oh, definitely.
You'd be hurting the girls if you did that.
Wasn't there something? He was a trainer at Michigan State. His gymnastics, his USA Gymnastics job was basically volunteer. He worked at Michigan State. And what I heard was that there was complaints there about him too. And Michigan State came out and said, and they didn't do nothing about it. So again, here's a guy that I don't know how important his job is or how good he is at it, but that's no excuse for not coming out. You're going to complain. You should be looking into it right away, reporting it right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just like I said, you know what? I'm glad. I know it doesn't change the fact, but I'm glad that those girls got their justice. I'm glad that he's in jail. I'm glad that Steve Penny, even though he's probably not going to go to jail for as long as they are, I don't know what his sentence was because they never cover it, but he was arrested. He's just as vile as them. If you know about it and you're covering it for the sake of winning, you're just as bad as the guy doing it. Just as bad. So, and that lady who was told about it and then didn't pursue it, all of those coaches, I don't know if all they were was probably fired. They should have all been sent to jail because you failed to report the abuse of a minor.
Yeah, you would have to prove that they knew too, though, Jim.
Yeah, the one who ran the ranch, they showed on the movie her deposition with before the court with the FBI, and she said, "Yeah, I was told, and I passed it to him."
Yeah.
But she never followed up. And she had to be in the room when they decided, because she was the one who was judging the people who were going to be on that Olympic team, and she was in the room when they made the decision to hold that one girl off.
So, I mean, there had to be a question. You knew that was probably this girl.
Well, no, it was a girl. Steve Penny told her probably she's not going to be on the team.
Right.
And that makes her just as guilty. Just as guilty.
I agree.
Just as guilty. World girl works her whole life to be on the team, and you hold her back because she spoke about something that's wrong in the first place. Yeah. I know they got lawsuits, and I don't know what came about them. I don't know if they're done because they were filed. I don't know if they were filed in 2017. I don't know the details of that, but I hope they win a lot of money. I know money doesn't change anything, but unfortunately, other than sending them to prison and hitting them in the wallet is all you can do.
It's something. It's some kind of compensation, but like you say, it's not enough.
It doesn't take it away him going to prison, but that's the only justice that's available to you.
Exactly.
Take the justice you can get. Right. So, and it's just a shame. But anyway, really sickening. I mean, it was really just one of those things that's like, you heard about it, and then you watch the story and kind of understand it to a better level, a better degree, and you just look at it and you think to yourself, just to win some gold medals? I mean, really? I mean, you covered this up just to be the best country in gymnastics? I mean, the girls probably would have won anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Jim, and I'm telling you right now, on all big organizations and NCAA, there's got to be stuff going on there that's not right. I mean, we know that just by human nature, there are some bad people out there, and there are people that just go along with programs afraid to, rock the boat so they don't.
They're making good money. They're in a high position, and they know that it's a stain on them because it's hard. I mean, this stuff happens all the time. Yeah,
definitely.
All the time.
It's sad.
It is sad. So I want to touch base before we get into basketball because I just saw this, and I like to bring up news that comes late. So now the world has been asking the Washington Redskins forever to change their name. And we know this. This has been going on long before what's going on today. They've asked them for years. And now as far as I understand, they're going to change it. So I don't understand why, now Amazon is, Amazon's pulling all Redskin merchandise from Amazon.
Yeah.
I don't understand he's changing it. Why are you pulling the merchandise?
Let me ask you a question. It's a bigger question. Do you think that any company or any organization has the right, they can pull their advertisement if they want, has a right to tell people, a fan of a team or an organization, what name they should have? Do you think they have the right to do that?
No. How I feel about the freedom of speech, but at the same time, it's like, he'll go broke. All his advertisers left, and nobody's selling his merchandise. He'll go broke. Literally, You could change the name, or 2 years from now there'll be no football team in Washington.
Right. So again, we'll go back to this again for visit it real quick second. So the Dallas Cowboys are Americans team. There's a lot of animal activists' rights out there. Mm-hmm. And cowboys are known for driving cattle or slaughtering cattle. Mm-hmm. They're known for breaking horses and taking these wild horses and breaking them and riding them. They're known for shooting at the Native Americans. This is what they're known for. Mm-hmm. So when the animal activists go down to the cowboys and say, hey, listen, we're going to put a lot of pressure on you. You've got to change your name. Is that what we're coming to right now?
It seems that way.
It's sad.
But I mean, that's where for me, I look at companies like Amazon, I look at companies like Nike and I look at Walmart, Target, Dick's Sporting Goods. Those are companies who have said they're going to remove the Redskins merchandise. And to me, they're hypocrites.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why they're hypocrites.
Good.
Now they're pulling their backing. FedEx, another hypocrite.
Right.
Pulling their backing from the Redskins now because of where the country's at. But they didn't care to pull it from the Redskins back when the Native Americans wanted it done 10 years ago.
And a lot of them didn't want it done.
No. So it's like, wait a second. Do you really believe in the Native Americans cause here? Amazon, FedEx, Nike, Dick's Sporting Goods? Or is it just because there's so much going on with the BLM movement that you're afraid to be on the other side of the fence? Because you didn't care 8 years ago when there was no BLM movement, but the Native Americans were screaming then.
Do you want me to take a step further, or you want to leave it there?
No, we can leave it there. We already know they don't really care what the name is.
I've got to take it one step further, just for a second.
All right, Ed.
Nike is going to pull the merchandise, but who makes Nike sneakers?
Chinese children. We know this.
Chinese children make it.
I think it's hilarious when they.
What does the Chinese government? What does the Chinese government do? They take Muslims and they put them in concentration camps. So are we gonna take, Nike's opinion that seriously? And this is what I'm talking about.
But for me, like I haven't supported Nike for a long time, and I won't because I don't like Nike. I've even told Matty Ice this. I said he wanted some merchandise. I said I'll get you Adidas. I don't support Nike. I don't. Yeah. But I'm talking about all of these companies. The only reason Amazon's doing it, I think that people get fooled too easy in society. People are out there right now and they're thinking to themselves, I respect Amazon. I respect Nike, Walmart, Target, Dick's Sporting Goods for removing the Redskins. Don't, because they don't care about your movement. They don't care about the BLM. They don't care about the Native Americans. Those are facts. And you know why they don't care about them? They only care about money. Because Native Americans wanted that name removed 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And you didn't see any of these companies back down then because you know why? It wasn't going to cost them any money. But now that the Native Americans have brought it up again, and it goes along with the BLM movement, and now they're afraid, well, if we don't, people will stop buying our stuff.
Exactly.
That's all they care about.
Exactly.
When you go to sleep at night, don't tell yourself, oh, Amazon cares about my cause. No, they don't. Amazon doesn't even care about their employees. How many of their employees did they fire because they felt unsafe going to work with the coronavirus? Amazon don't give a crap about any of you.
And you know something?
Money.
The only team that's kind of safe from all this is the Green Bay Packers, right? Because the fans own the team. The fans buy stock in the Green Bay Packers. They ain't worried about anybody, any sponsorship like that. They buy stock. Green Bay owns the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. So if you don't like the Packers for some reason, the fans are going to say, we love the Packers.
I didn't even bring this up with you because I don't want to see you get all crazy on the air, but they're trying to get rid of the Irish mascot, the Notre Dame.
Oh yeah, they've been talking about that. Yeah,
I don't even know what did he do. All he does, he's just an Irish guy.
Yeah, he's a midget, so he's a dwarf, he's a leprechaun. I mean, hey.
And Nike's hypocritical anyway because Nike supports not only has children making their stuff, they've also supported people who have come out on both sides, white and black, with racist stuff. and they still. So I don't care about Nike. And if it wasn't for Amazon and Walmart and Target giving you good prices, I wouldn't shop there anyway. So it's all about the pricing. So
small business guys, small business.
All of a sudden, the Redskins are a problem for them.
Yeah.
I understand the Redskins should change their name if it bothers that many people. Because, you ask the question, well, should they change them? Listen, if it's going to offend millions of people, it's just the name, man. They could be the Washington Warriors. I mean, that's
definitely.
But I just find the pulling the merchandise part laughable because they're acting like this is a new issue. Like, it came up.
Well, what I'm trying to say, Jim, and about the principles what I'm talking about, if a big company or a big organization can tell you what to do, and listen, there's 300 million people, 300 million people in this country, and if 1 million is offended by it, there's still 299 million that may not be. So anyway, Dallas Cowboys, I'm telling you, you're next. You're going to have to change your name to the Dallas Stars or something.
Let me tell you something. My issue with the Dallas Cowboys, since you brought it up, is not the name. I don't care about their name. I don't, because Cowboys also do other good things for the country. That there's a lot of stuff that help produce.
I agree.
Other stuff. So I don't care what they call themselves. They're only America's team in their eyes. I'm a Giants fan. I could care less about the Cowboys.
Well, we'll talk about how they did that one day.
But I will tell you the bigger issue I have with the Cowboys, since you brought this up. The bigger issue I have with the Cowboys is their players. I have an issue with their players. And before I just want to admit, Alexander mentioned that Adam Schefter just reported a couple minutes ago that Washington is planning no Native American imagery. So they are changing the name. But anyway, he bought 5. The guy who owns the Redskins bought 5 different naming rights. One of them is the Warriors. So anyway, I'll tell you my bigger issue with the Dallas Cowboys. It's the players.
My biggest issue is Jerry Jones.
Let me. Well, it's all it ties in.
All right.
My issue is with the players of the Dallas Cowboys, because it's funny how people are about a cause until it hurts their wallet. Then they're not about a cause, because I have seen Drew Brees state he wanted to not kneel, and he got vilified. I have seen Dak Prescott come out and say he doesn't plan to kneel because he doesn't believe in it. And when Kaepernick was kneeling, the Jones family came out and said anyone who kneels will not play for the Cowboys.
Correct.
Ever since all this stuff's gone down lately, Jerry Jones has been nowhere to be found. He's high in the ocean somewhere. But yet, finally today, a Dallas Cowboy player came out, not Ezekiel Elliott, not Cooper, not Dak, not the guys making all that cheese. A guy came out and said, I need to know where my owner stands on this.
Yeah.
He's nowhere to be found. But those big ticket guys, so I don't want to see Ezekiel Elliott or Dak Prescott or Amari Cooper hold a press conference in 2 days and to declare how they're all about the movement. Because you're about your pocket. Because if you're about the movement, how could you rightfully look us in the face and look the people in the face and say that you care about the movement, but you're willing to go play for somebody who said you ain't kneeling here, buddy? So,
and listen, there's both sides of that argument about kneeling too. So I'm not going to get into that. What I don't like about Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones gets too involved in the team, the running of the team. I mean,
now he's hiding. He was in the bunker with Trump.
Right, exactly.
I can't find him.
So I mean, this guy. I mean, I'm not gonna say he's bad at drafting or even signing free agents. This man does a decent job because he's GM with his son. But as far as the daily operations or coming out every game after the game is over, whether they win or lose, and acting like he's the one that won and he's the one that's going to make changes. I'm going to make changes. And when they lose, and every game this man comes out, he's on the sidelines constantly. So how can a coach? And I can't wait till McCarthy gets this. I mean, everything's peaches and cream right now.
Has it not amazed you that Jerry Jones yet hasn't tried to coach?
I think he wants to.
Let me tell you, I'll coach.
I think he really wants to, but I don't think he's allowed to. I don't think the owners will allow that to happen. But, I mean, how can you, when Mike McCarthy starts doing the games and Jerry Jones is nipping at his heels, put it in a nice way, all the time, how's he going to handle that? Will he handle it any better? Jimmy Johnson, gone. Bill Parcells winning, gone. Don't want anybody that has a brighter star than he has. He is in charge, and he makes sure everybody knows it. And that's why Jason Garrett did so bad as a head coach there. It's not because the man is dumb. It's not the man's dumb. The man's one of the best offensive coordinators in the league. But he's the one. Jerry Jones came down and told him, "You're not offensive coordinator no more. This guy over here is." So I mean, this guy is an intrusive thing that's inside the Dallas Cowboys all the time, and that's why the Dallas Cowboys can't get it together.
It's a disaster, and I'd like to see. Alexander mentioned Dontari Poe was the one who spoke up. I'd like to see more players speak up. I mean, college players have had the guts to speak up and say, and their whole life is on the line because not only these guys don't play college football, they don't go to the pros.
Not a good shot. Yeah,
guys who haven't gotten a dime in their pocket yet, they're putting their whole future on the line and saying, I'm not playing until this school makes it right, until this school doesn't. These are kids risking throwing away any chance they have to make money to stand up for something they believe in, and the rich Dallas Cowboy players cannot speak up because Lord forbid you don't play for the Cowboy. There are other teams you go play for. Trust me, plenty of people would like you, Cooper, or plenty of people would like Zeke. You don't need to be in Dallas. Speak up. Force the hand. Did Jerry Jones kidnap them all and hide them?
No, I'm telling you, Jerry Jones is involved in every aspect from who's sweeping the hallway in the stadium. That man is involved in every aspect of that team, and he's like the president of his little country there, and the king, I should say. That's what this guy is.
Feel like he's kidnapped them all and hid them somewhere. But I got some more breaking news for you.
Go ahead.
Ivy League Conference has announced they've canceled all fall sports. There will be no football, basketball in the Ivy League.
And you know something? What part of the country really cares about that? I mean, seriously.
I mean, listen. I do. I like to watch them play. I like college basketball a lot. But here's the thing. I think it represents something bigger than that. I mean, I think you're looking at it saying, oh, well, honestly, at the end of the day, who really cares if Harvard plays football or basketball? That's not the big picture. The big picture here is that if one conference is willing to do it, dominoes are going to start to fall. Because hold on, before you say something, let me show you an instance. When the coronavirus had just come here, nobody really knew how bad it was going to be yet. It was in early March or whenever it was. The Ivy League was the first thing to say we're not going to play in the tournament. Mm-hmm. And then the dominoes fell. Duke, Kentucky, ACC. Don't be surprised if the dominoes start to fall. You got to look at it from a bigger picture. Like what happens if, for example, your college football team, for example, let's just say Notre Dame plays 2 games against team A and B in the Big South, let's say in the Big South cancels. Now you've just lost 2 of your opponents. So it starts to create problems.
Well, the only reason why I agree with you, but disagree with you to the point. Ivy League is more today. Ivy League at one time was a major conference in all sports. Ivy League is more about education today. I mean, Ivy League can't compete.
Of course.
All right. So that if the SEC says that, if the South Conference says that, if the Atlantic 10 says that, then I'm going to listen. With Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all these guys say that. I understand they're more about education than the sport.
You're smart enough to know that when the dominoes start to fall, they seem to follow.
Yeah, but you know something?
Even if you lose 8 conferences out of 20, that's still a lot of sports that just went away.
But you know something? The bigger schools are about their sports programs more than they are about education. It's kind of the opposite with them.
Matt loves my Big South comment. I couldn't think of a semi-division. I just announced the Big South.
Listen, hey, Kyrie makes it.
That's still a conference. It's just the first thing that came to my mind.
Hey, listen, Kyrie has his own league. We can make up our own conference, so don't worry about it.
I there was a Big South. Is it gone now?
Yeah, well, it went with Big North, and they both went west. So,
there was a Big South. Listen, I'm going to look it up. All
right, please do that. Please do that.
Big South. So there probably still is a Big South. You can tell me there's no Big South conference in football? Big South Conference. We're looking it up right now. There is a Big South. What are you talking about? There's a Big South conference. What schools are in the Big South? Campbell, Charleston Southern, Hampton, Garden Webb, High Point, Longwood, Radford, and Presbyterian. To all the South people out there, I know you exist.
That was lucky, dude. You were so lucky.
I play a lot of college basketball and football games.
There you go.
I'm just telling you, this will not be the only conference to do it. Maybe there will be a conference that will do it. Watch. That you will care about. It might not be the SEC. It might not be the ACC. But if 6 or 7 conferences, let's say, for example, decide not to play, you might as well not have a college basketball season because there'll only be 64 teams left. You could just go to the tournament.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you, Jim. I'm just saying that the Ivy League is not – in principle, you're right because that's what happened. But that is totally a different thing. There's Alabama, you go there to play the pro football – to go to pro football. You don't go to Yale to play pro football.
No, what do you do if if someone at Alabama or Miami or anywhere else, Notre Dame, starts to get sick and the players start to feel unsafe and they don't want to play? It's over. That's it.
I guess it's over, yeah.
Just like right now, it was announced today or last night, the NFL is working with the NFLPA to offer players a way to not play if they don't want to play. So just like in every other sport where players have the right to opt out, pro football will have the right to opt out, and I guarantee you college football and basketball will allow players to opt out if they want.
Yeah, I agree with that, but you're talking about a player as opposed to a whole conference.
Right. Well, Matt says, SEC and AC will play. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not going to believe that anybody is going to play until I see the major sports kick off, until I see Major League Baseball hit the field on the 23rd. Hockey hit the ice on August 1st. Basketball hit the court. Then I'll believe it because I can promise you this. If the major sports shut down, college sports are not playing.
Well, I think college was shut down before the major sports.
But if they didn't and the pros shut down, you could kiss college season.
Well, like I said, I think that will happen first, Jim.
But hopefully it doesn't. But I'm just saying is every day you turn on the news, in a place like Florida, for example, today, every day they're breaking the previous day's record of cases. Cases are going up everywhere. Today, the New Jersey governor came out and said, that going forward, you will be ticketed if you don't wear a mask outside. Now you're required in New Jersey to wear one outside.
Well, you know something? That's politics, and I tell you, you could probably fight that and win in court because they can't.
They work.
Listen, I'm just saying, Jim. That's politics, and you could fight that. And you would have,
someone like me, I'm going to wear my mask because I don't want to pay a fine if I lose in court. I'm not going to fight a court battle because Max said you'll probably win.
You'll probably win. But anyway, we already talked about that. There's more testing. People are now coming outside out of their homes, out of their kids. So, of course, more people are going to get.
Of course. Okay. So on a new note, since I know how much you think that everything's going to play, and I'm proud of you for that, I don't know how the New Jersey Nets are going to play. Because Brooklyn Nets forward Taurean Prince tested positive for COVID-19 and will sit out the restart. That is now 7 New Jersey Nets, a team that probably would make the playoffs, although I don't know now because they're playing Tom, Dick, and Harry in their places. The 7 Nets, let's go down the list. Prince, Irving, Durant, Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, Wilson Chandler, and Nick Claxton. None of those guys are going to play.
Well, Durant wasn't playing anyway. So we already
give me the 3 or 4 that weren't playing anyway. That doesn't matter. They lost 4 more players that were going to play. The Dinwiddie's their best player, and Jordan's a good player. So I'm asking you, who is playing for the Nets? Because I'd like to see you hit the court.
Easy answer. What they're going to do is New York Knicks are going to go over into Brooklyn, and they're going to put on the Brooklyn Nets shirts, and they're playing. That's it. That's what's going to happen.
But the Knicks are going to be playing in those games the teams have to play for seed for.
No, we're gonna have the second string, like only 5 guys that are going to play there. One gets hurt, we'll play with 4.
They're probably going to miss the playoffs now because they're playing those 8 games. The Nets are the 7 seed. They're only a half a game from Orlando, ahead of Orlando for the 8, and not too far back is the 9. So don't be surprised if the Nets don't make the playoffs.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if they don't make it.
I don't know who's going to play for them. I mean, I'm waiting for the call. Come on, Marks. I know you can only call me if Durant says so. Call him up, ask for permission. I'll tie Durant's sneakers in between periods or whatever just to play the game.
There you go.
Whatever Durant needs to make himself feel superior, I'll do it.
There you go.
So, and then, of course, Dwight Howard is actually going to play now, which is good because Dwight Howard's kind of a drama queen. He always has been. So it's good for him to actually go play. I mean, Dwight Howard, you finally got back in the good graces of the league. Can we go play some basketball, please? You got a chance to win a title.
Yes. And not only that, he says he's supposed to be donating to the charities and the communities, all his paychecks.
I think he'll donate. He's got money. He ain't poor.
Well, hey, I'm glad. I mean, that's great. There's somebody that's actually playing basketball and helping the community at the same time. That's great to me. Respect.
Well, he was gonna skip it for the activism thing, but don't listen to Kyrie, Dwight. Don't listen. You got the title. Don't listen to anybody but Kyrie.
I agree.
He says he's going to donate all his games checks from the Restart to the Breathe Again Foundation. I believe he will. I mean,
that's great.
He's made a lot of money in basketball. I mean, Dwight Howard is not exactly broke.
No, he was quite the player at one time. That's for sure.
So he came in the league really young. Don't forget, 18, 19 years old. So, he made a ton of money. Nice of him to donate some checks. It's good that he's coming back. He should come back because he's running. He's getting up there now. He's not even a full-time guy right now. Like, he averages 7 points a game, 7 rebounds. Go win your title.
Yeah.
Go win your title.
And who the leader on that team is LeBron James. You don't want to hear no nonsense, dude. He's not going to hear no nonsense. Either you're with us or you're not with us. I guarantee you that discussion happened.
Oh, I'm sure LeBron gave him a call. LeBron is not Kyrie. LeBron probably told him, listen, I'm here to win titles. You either come title, or you probably told him, well, you're not going to be here next year.
Definitely. You're all set, buddy.
Yeah, don't ruin my chance for a title. I'm trying to be listed ahead of MJ. I need every title I can get.
Yeah.
So that's one guy you don't want to mess around with. But he's back, and it's good. The Lakers are at full strength, and they're one of the favorites, and you know what it is. It is what it is. So Lakers gave him a chance. So when he was going to sit out, I was like, why are you going to sit out? I mean, the Lakers gave you a chance to come. If you're sick, that's one thing. You want to stick out. If you're sick, you're sick. I don't want anyone, I don't want anyone to get sick or get hurt or whatever, or risk their family or whatever. I don't want to see that. So if you have coronavirus, you want to sit out, or you're worried about your family getting sick or your daughter, that doesn't bother me at all. But I mean, as we've said a million times, it's not playing basketball is not going to take away from the movement. I mean, the movement is about representing it and being part of it. And if it takes away, then that means you're forgetting about it. Yeah. Don't forget about it. You're only, there are a lot of people who represent the movement who go to work every day. They don't forget about it while they're at work. I went to work 9 to 5. I forgot all about it. They don't do that. So you could go play basketball for 3 hours a day and it'll still, it's just like having a job. So, on another note, they said something exciting for hockey fans today.
Yes.
According to the way the schedule is going to be, when the hockey first comes back, they're going to play back-to-back-to-back games starting really early in the day. Hockey fans like myself, we're going to, especially because I'm working from home right now, 12 hours of hockey in a row.
It's a party.
15. It's a celebration.
It's a party, dude. Yes, sir.
You know how on the big radio stations when somebody goes, like, when a holiday comes up, Frances or somebody, they go on a holiday and they have the guy fills in for them, like, or Steve Summers. I might need a fill-in because if the Flyers are on at 4:00, I'm not coming on. So
what kind of commitment is that?
What kind of commitment is going to have to bring his butt home by 4:00?
What kind of commitment is that?
That is commitment.
That's not commitment at all.
You
could put your TV on the side and still do the show. I don't want to hear that.
Screens. I could watch while we're cooking.
Put them on mute, and we'll try to keep.
I would have to put them on mute.
We'll try to keep you in the show as you're doing that. Okay, so
it's not that. I got screen. screen. You always see me looking like this, and then I got the screen right there. I'm always looking at all three. Do I ever come off in space?
I can see you pushing buttons now. We're going to have a lot of fun that day. We sure will.
I mean, just get Matty Ice. Just have to come on down, Matty Ice. Move your butt.
There you go. There you go.
Get home by 4:00. I mean, what's important? The show or your job? The show.
There you go.
Come on.
Listen.
Alexander says the MLS starts 9 a.m. games tomorrow. What channel, Alexander? Give us the channel. Tell everybody the channel. I'll watch soccer all day. I'm so starved right now. I'll watch curling.
Yep. That's good. That's great.
Channel, Alexander. Where can I go tomorrow morning? Wake up at 9 a.m. and since it's our day off from the show for 2 days and watch sports all day. Where can I go watch soccer?
That would be great, right? Wouldn't that be great? Anything. I mean, I'm not staying up.
I'll actually. You say, well, you need a TV. What are you talking about? I actually, literally, when I watch the games, I watch them in here anyway because I got.
There you go.
I'm at my desk all day for work.
But you need to concentrate, Jim. You have to concentrate. You know, you can't be looking at this game and doing that too.
No, I mean it's not a problem. I'll be here. I'll be the look piece. Yeah.
Right. You know, it's just breaking that the NFL wants 35% of players' salaries.
Said no.
So, there you go. That's how fast breaking it was, and you just hit it right back. There you go.
No, it was like 2 hours, 3 hours ago. Not to break.
All right, so there you go.
That's
pretty breaking. I mean,
that's news because I don't even think the NFL took it that seriously. I think I don't think they asked them like MLB would ask the players, and then if it didn't go well, the MLB was like, "Oh, well, then we'll sit out." I think the NFL just asked, thinking maybe we'll get lucky, but if we don't, we don't care.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You know they're talking about at the Mets games having carbon cutouts of people, so I can be there.
I heard that. I told you about that. They're going to put them in stadiums. You're going to have to pay so much for each cardboard cutout to resemble yourself, like $20.
I'm not paying.
$20 a game.
No, I'm not.
So, well, that's the way it goes. Hey, do you want to hit me? Do you want me to hit the Hometown Foundation here real quick?
We're not leaving yet. We don't have to end right at 6:00. We have good conversation.
I mean, okay, good. All right, I'm glad.
We got Justin Alexander says it's ESPN tomorrow. The New York team versus Philadelphia, MLS soccer.
There you go. I can't listen. We got to watch something, man. Got to watch something.
I love soccer. Love it.
Yeah.
Can't get.
I'm not a big soccer fan.
No.
I'm not a big soccer. No.
You know Pele or nothing.
I do know these players. You know, I do watch it every once in a while.
Past. You know.
I mean, listen.
Please name 3 current soccer players.
Well, there's Pele.
That's not current. I'm current.
I know you did. So anyway, it takes. I mean, these guys are in tremendous shape. They're tremendous athletes, but to watch them, slowly move the ball up and down the field.
World Cup is amazing.
For 1-0.
You need to start watching soccer from other countries, like in England, in Italy, where the fans live and breathe it. In America, it's hit or miss. Like they're big. The fans are nuts in Seattle. They're great. Other places, but it's not the same as like in England, in Italy. The fans are crazy. It's amazing. It's like it makes football and baseball fans look depressing.
Well, listen, I'm not watching a game to watch the fans. I'm watching to watch the game.
Excitement. I mean, that's like basically saying that it's not going to be any problem for you watching sports now with no fans.
Well, listen to what I'm saying. It wouldn't be. But listen to what I'm saying, all right? The reason why the fans are a little more reserved in baseball, and football and hockey, is because there's a lot of action going on in the field. In soccer, it takes, almost an hour for them to score a goal. So they got to do something.
Oh, my Lord. Doesn't take an hour. The game's only like 2 hours. What are you talking about? Right. Tell us about the you have some. Well, first of all, I want to ask you, we're partnering up with a foundation to try to, raise some money and get the awareness out. Can you tell us about the foundation?
Yeah, listen, all you people out there, there's a foundation called Hometown Foundation. They sponsor a huge event called the Dream Ride, which I was part of last year. And what the Hometown Foundation Dream Ride is about people with mental disabilities that, have different handicaps. And what they do is they have events to raise money for these people. They have what's called a Dream Ride, which is goes from 25 states and 3 countries, and they go around the country and they collect all the mentally handicapped people, and they all come up to the Farmington Polo Grounds, and they have a huge celebration here in Connecticut. And there's 100,000 volunteers, and there's car clubs from all over the country, motorcycle clubs from all over the country, singers, actors from all over the country. They all kind of come down for this big weekend, and they have this weekend they have over 60,000 people that come to this event, and the mentally disabled people, they get their dream ride where they get to go into the Lamborghinis, they get to go into old classic cars, they get to ride on the back of motorcycles and Harleys and stuff like that. And they all come back. There's concerts put on by them. There's buffets put on for them. And they treat them like almost like royalty for this one day. And it's an unbelievable cause. They're having events right now, a virtual dream ride. And we're going to kind of partner up with them and help them on air and maybe help them raise some money. I talked to them today, and it's a great cause.
Now, when does it take place?
Well, the Dream Ride itself, the real Dream Ride, of course, because the virus has been canceled. So they're having a virtual event like every Friday. So I'm going to get all the details for everybody. I'm going to hopefully get one of them maybe to come on air with us for a brief time just to talk about it and share information back and forth with them.
Excellent.
Yeah. I mean, Jim, at the Dream Ride last year, they had ESPN was there. They had famous athletes, wrestlers, baseball players, cheerleaders. I mean, they really go all out this one weekend for these guys.
That's excellent. And you said we have some special announcements today, too. Do we have any birthdays or anything going on today?
Yes, we got one of the greatest linebackers of all time, Jack Lambert, right? Okay. This guy was a middle linebacker. He's 68 years old today. Middle linebacker for the Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers, the Steel Curtain. He was Rookie of the Year in 1974, NFL Defensive Player in 1976, won 4 Super Bowls, 9 Pro Bowls, and he had no front teeth. The guy was an animal. He was a great middle linebacker, and he kind of was the middle of that Steel Curtain defense. So he turned 68 years old today. Happy birthday, Jack.
Did he really have no front teeth?
Yeah, he got him knocked out for off field for something. So he didn't ever have 4. If you see the picture of Jack, it's an iconic picture. He's sitting back at middle linebacker. He doesn't have his mouthpiece on, and he's missing all front 4 teeth.
Excellent. There's nothing wrong with that. Excellent.
Yeah, it's a great picture.
So that's all we got, huh?
That's basically it as far as birthdays. There was a first hockey game. The first hockey game that's ever recorded was in 1875. It was indoors, and of course, where but Montreal, and it was organized by a hockey club where James Creighton. He had 2 9 teams with a wooden puck. And the Victoria Skating Club is the ones that put it on. So it was in Quebec. There was 2 teams. It was sponsored by this club. And one of the teams beat the other teams 2-0. And the greatest thing about this is where hockey is, right? Right after the game, there was a huge fight between the hockey players, the club members, the fans, the spectators. The women were running. I mean, they said it was a heck of a scene. So 1875.
That's a lot. Well, Canada would be the right place to do it, right?
Right, definitely. So that's pretty cool. So that's another thing. If you want to keep going, I got a lot of stuff, Jim. So you just let me know.
Give me one more. I'll give the fans one more before we call it a day.
All right. I've been dying to bring this up for a couple months here. Jim Harbaugh had this idea about the draft.
Oh, now asking me that for like months.
What his idea is that the players that come out early, that apply for the draft, are allowed to come back to college without paying a penalty. So one of the guys go out, he doesn't get drafted, he doesn't get signed, he can come back and still play on that scholarship. And he even went farther to say that people that were drafted out of the third, second year should be able to come back and finish on that scholarship soon, too. So, I mean, the idea is pretty good, but I think you would affect a lot of younger players coming up to get drafted in scholarships because they would be taking their scholarship spots. So that's Jim Harbaugh's idea, it's not a bad idea.
I think you first asked me to bring that up on the air like a month ago.
Yes.
You might have asked 2 or 3.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Just always didn't make the production cut. It just
but I think it's it's a good thought. You know, I mean, it's thinking outside the box, which Jim Harbaugh does all the time, and you know,
I want to something to think outside the box of, and that you don't care anything about. But since you brought it up, now that they've finally agreed, or they're coming to some sort of agreement where players deserve payment in college football, can we please get the NCAA college football video game back? Because it's way better than Madden.
Was it really?
Oh, it was the best. So we haven't had it since Charles O'Bannon's dumb behind complained and got to where they couldn't use their likeliness. They never put their real names in, but they made their likeliness, and then the fans could just go and edit the names, and it was real rosters. And now we need it back because we're, this game was.
Let's start a petition. Jim.
Well, I mean, I don't think I need to, because I think a lot of people have already started one a long time ago.
Well, let me know where to sign, because I'll sign up with you.
Excellent. All right, so I guess we're done. I guess we're off until Saturday. Saturday we will have baseball day Wake Up with Baseball in New York on Saturday. I did share all your Yankee stuff today.
Beautiful. I mean, they're good enough to let us on there and enter into their conferences and stuff. It's good that we do that. And I'll remind everybody, I'll let you know this weekend we have a great Mets author / writer coming.
Talk about him on Saturday. Don't worry.
And we got a former heavyweight champion of the world coming on Wednesday. So I mean, 2 guests in 1 week. We just set a record. We normally do 1.
What happened Tuesday?
I stretch it. Well, Tuesday's iffy. I mean, we got to be able to talk too, Jim.
Maybe I'll get a guest for Tuesday.
All right. Who are you going to bring?
You guys pay me for putting those pictures up today? Didn't I basically do his job?
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. Why I sent this.
Did I get paid from Matty?
He told me to include him, and then whatever. That's fine.
No, I want some money.
He's a busy man.
Yeah.
Hey, to let everybody know too, before you go too, if by some chance you miss our show, and you're in the car or you're somewhere where you can't get to the Facebook page, we are on a bunch of apps, guys. We're on Spreaker.com app. We're on Anchor.fm app. We're on RTF Network, Apple Podcasts, Radio.com, Worldwide Sports Network.com. We're on a lot of different places that you can go and check us out.
And more coming in our future.
Yes.
Especially as we develop the Big Guy Sports their own app.
There you go. I can't wait for that.
Our own. And then Justin can be in the car and keep his streak going. I mean, he'll have to pull to the side of the road and at least message one thing into the show so that I can believe he's there and keep, the streak going. So
I'll tell you, we sound our audio. You're doing a great job with the audio. It sounds great. We sound very professional on all these apps.
All right. Well, I guess we're done for today. We're off.
We got some stuff to do.
Live our best lives. Max off to work for 4 days, and he'll be here Saturday, and we'll see y'all later.
Yeah, have a good day, guys.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.